Group. 0 viewers. Group. Live and stream. Button.
I guess we're live now.
Pages.
And for a second there, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I guess, okay, things change. Welcome back to another episode of Blind Proofing, guys. I'm also eating dinner because my schedule has been crazy lately. I'm not going to lie. I'm really nervous about tomorrow, but I feel like I'm going to figure it out, but I'm still nervous. And maybe I need to channel that into this chapter, you know? We'll see. We'll see what I gotta get done.
Streamlabs desktop. Safari. Google Chrome. Finder. Speech of pages. Streamlabs Safari. Google Chrome. Finder. Endless Isake. Voiceover output request. Now in. Documents. 0. Whip. A lesson in across the middle. Gallery view. Volume 1 bootleg. Folder. Gallery view. Collection. Chapter 1 happy birthday pages. Chapter 2 lucky sob page. Chapter 15 the measure of losses. Pages document. Actions available. View pages. Pages. Untitled 3. Window. Footer. Group. To hide or show headers and footers, navigate away from them, and then use the custom actions command. You are currently on a group inside of a page. To interact with items in this group, press Control, Option, Shift, down arrow.
Okay. You know, I think we're gonna recap, guys. I was gonna fight to write a chapter, but I think I'm gonna go back and listen to some chapters.
Finder. Volume 1 bootleg. Chapter 14. Chapter 11. Brotherly love pages. Chapter 10 tactics and agendas pages. Pages document. Act Chapter 9 target practice pages. Chapter 10 tactics and agendas pages. Pages document. Actions available. You are currently on a pages document. To open, press Control, Option, Space to begin interacting with the contents of this image. Press Control, Option, Shift, down arrow. To exit this group,
writing Brotherly Love for the channel.
Chapter 11. Brotherly love pages. Pages document. Chapter 10 tactics and agendas pages. Pages document. Actions available.
Was I at the end of that chapter? Did we show the class?
Chapter 9 target practice pages. Pages document. Actions available. You are currently on a pages document. Chapter 10 tactics and agendas pages. Pages document.
Okay, I think we're
Chapter 11. Brotherly love pages. Pages document. Pages. Cancel. Button. Opening Chapter 11. Brotherly love pages. Now in. Now document. Layout area. Chapter 11. Brotherly love pages. Window.
Yeah, Saber.
Actions available.
Yeah.
You are currently on a page inside of a layout area. To jump to page format, press Control. Page 2 summary. Page 1. In page 1 body. Page 1 of 2. Edit text. Speech muted.
Brotherly love. The day did not get any better for Maximo, the why of his distress being rather simple. The broadcast that morning had brought far more attention than he was accustomed to, and setting his mind to solving the issue came with problems of their own. "Yo, Brad," he yelled, waving an arm toward his brother's tall form strolling down the hall toward the cafeteria, doing his damnedest to grab the older boy's attention. His brother looked over, seeing his lanky form being dangled off the ground by a defensive lineman, and not only smiled at Maximo, but waved as he veered off course and headed directly to him. "Oh, thank goodness. At least I can depend on his dumbass when it matters. Yo, Franklin, you found my little brother. That was fast." Maximo looked between his brother and the troll-sized young man, pressing him sharply up against a locker. unbelieving of the shared smiles and nods passing between the two players. "Yeah, figured I had some time before lunch. And if the rumor I heard earlier is real, I'd rather we had a backup quarterback for later," said Franklin. The near 7-foot-tall lineman shrugging, as if he wasn't holding up Maximo's 170 pounds with a one-handed ease probably used similarly to tote around the large teenager's book bag. "What rumor?" said Maximo, and Bradley at the same time. "The principal is trying to force Coach to schedule scrimmages every day for practice, rather than letting us drill endlessly like we have been between games." "Ah," said both the siblings, before Maximo remembered his current circumstances, settling his glare back on his still smiling brother before trying to reach out and grab Bradley by the throat. "This was you!" Bradley swatted both Maximo's hands away, rolling his eyes as he took a step back. "Of course it was little bro. You aren't going to listen to me without pressure, and we both know it. Just join the team and this will all stop. Trust me. I'm paying out of pocket until it does." Maximo looked toward the slowly nodding Franklin and then back to Bradley, before trying to once more throttle his sibling's neck, punching and kicking out in his direction. "This is the third fucking time this has happened today already, you bastard. My parents were married, Bud, yours weren't. And like I said, just join and this will all be over." Bradley laughed as he strolled away toward the cafeteria doors, Franklin smashing him back up against the locker S. He reinforced the message of his older brother. "Yea, what he said, join, and I'll stop taking payments to peer pressure your scrawny ass, and instead take them to defend your bony ass." "I get it, I'm skinny," said Maximo, choking through his response. "Still got an arm on you, and that's all that matters, little guile." Franklin dropped Maximo just as a familiar voice called for him. The tall Franklin making it far enough away from Maximo with such speed that Samantha missed the interaction entirely. "Damn cutie. You look like you forgot to run your clothes through the dryer. I hope you don't always look this ruffled. You know, as a couple, we will have images to uphold." Maximo straightened, running his hands down the wrinkles of his shirt. "Yeah, sorry. It's been a long morning," said Maximo, staring down the hallway at the bald Franklin's smoothly retreating form. Starting to think that all the bullies in this school both play sports and know where cameras don't quite reach, thought Maximo with a clenched jaw, until he felt Samantha's arms wrap around him. He immediately froze, going rigid, until he realized Samantha wasn't going to let go of him until he relaxed. "Wow, you committed there. Yeah, I normally yell. I'm with it, baby, before I run through yellow lights, even as they change." Maximo laughed and found himself hugging Samantha back. "You okay?" asked Samantha, and all Maximo could do was nod, knowing that being roughed up by players wasn't exactly helping his mental traumas diminish, nor aid in his desire to play a sport he'd long given up on. But Bradley wouldn't be going this far if he didn't need the help. He sighed again, and Samantha took his hand, pulling him along. "Come on, QB, let's get some food in you."
Speech unmuted. Finder. Volume Chapter 12, A Lovely Lunch. Pages, cancel, button. Body, page 1 of 3. Edit text, insertion at beginning of selected body Chapter 12. A Lovely Lunch. Speech muted.
Chapter 12, A Lovely Lunch. Maximo found himself ignoring every bit of what was going on around him. Samantha seemed to have that effect on him, and with how his heart seemed to race their every interaction, he couldn't care in the slightest. He cared not when he bumped into more football players attempting to haze him, which he found odd, as he hadn't even joined the team yet. Yet, "I'll never join at this point," thought Maximo as Hector and Franklin joined him and Samantha at their almost completely empty table. Samantha waved in her excitement at the boys joining them, knowing that the team was trying to scout him, while Maximo did his best not to glare at the pair. At least Bradley isn't. "Hey, little bro, you made your decision yet?" said Bradley, plopping into the seat beside Maximo in the same instant he thought of the relief of not having his brother around, all while opening his mouth to respond to Samantha. "He's still thinking about it, and we are obviously on a lunch date, so if you wouldn't mind taking yourself and your over-eager friends to another table while I seduce our future head quarterback." Samantha's question statement, command. Maximo didn't know what to call what she'd just done, but couldn't help but smile as his brother rose and beckoned for Franklin and Hector to follow. His older brother wearing an odd smile as he strode away. "How in the hells did you do that?" Samantha dabbed at the corners of her mouth, delicately removing ranch from her salad from her lips before she blew him a kiss. "You going to tell me why you don't want to join the team, or are we just going to ignore it for now?" Maximo took a bite of pizza and felt like lying, only to open his mouth once again to say nothing, before actively deciding to tell his truth. "Fear? My dad died on a football field, and as much as I want to follow in his footsteps, I feel like I have a lot more to live for than the game." Samantha nodded and smiled, her eyes creasing in a playful way before she responded. "Like what?" Maximo unintentionally looked over toward his brother and all the players Bradley sat with, answering as he thought, only wanting to share pure and honest thoughts. I immediately wanted to say video games, but if I'm being honest, even that hasn't been the same since Bradley stopped playing them with me. Samantha's silence made him look back at her, and her ever-shifting facial features took on a sorrowful smile that made him want to hug her. "That's cute, my boy. Being the little brother of a superstar, and just wanting to play with him, I don't know, it's..." He nudged her softly in the shoulder, hoping she would elaborate. "It's what?" asked Maximo, feeling like she wouldn't share something that may make him feel soft. "Please don't hate me, but that is honestly the most adorable thing I've ever heard. No, it's not the dreamlike goal that I expected from you, but I don't see why it's not reasonable enough to at least try and play for the team, even if you're not pursuing a pro career." "You really think so?" She nodded. "Yes, it's better than doing nothing in the meantime, unless you are going to become a professional streamer or something like that. It's way better to have something constructive to do with your time, rather than dawdle away doing things that don't compare to playing football with Bradley." It was his turn to nod as he looked over to see Bradley smirking at him. His elder brother's smile was just enough for him to feel as if he was being tricked in that moment, making him frown as he looked back to Samantha. "He didn't pay you too, did he?" Samantha rolled her eyes. "I'm only here because I want to be. Don't be dumb, cutie." She flicked him in the forehead, and he couldn't help the smile that crested his face as he rubbed his forehead. "Ow. You definitely have to kiss this to make it better before it bruises. I'm a delicate quarterback, you know." "Oh, yeah?" Samantha rose, pursing her lips, and Maximo closed his eyes, only for nothing to happen. He then opened his eyes to be flicked on the forehead again. "Ow, what was that?" The kiss on his lips shut him up entirely, the girl nearly sitting on his lap as she folded into his embrace. "Don't be stupid, Maximo. If you want to play with your brother, just do it. And if you're not ready to completely talk about why you're afraid to do so beyond what happened with your dad, just say that. I'll still be here for you, cutie." He nodded, and she pecked him on the cheek before flipping his brother 2 non-demure fingers with both hands, and rose. "Call me later, boo, and please don't forget this time." The girl sashayed off, leaving Maximo muttering to himself, "I could never forget hips like those."
Boom.
Speech unmuted. Actions available. You are currently on a pages document. Chapter 13, Traumas and Potential. Chapter 12, A Lovely. Chapter 13, Pages. Cancel. Button. Opening Chapter 13, Traumas and Potential. You are currently on a button. Body. Page 1 of 2. Edit text. Body. Chapter 13. Traumas and Potential is selected. Body. Chapter 13. Traumas and Footer. Body. In edit. Beginning of text. Body. Page 1 of 2. Edit text. Footer. Body. In edit. Selection unselected. Selected. Body. Chapter 13. Traumas and Potential. Speech muted.
I almost wish that oh god, I'm about to lose my whole sentence. I almost wish that while my narrator was reading, it was like following the words as it went along, so you guys almost saw something interacting. So yeah. It is what it is. Okay.
Chapter 13. Traumas and Potential. The rest of Maximo's day flew by. Why? Because he couldn't pull his mind from what Samantha had said. Am I not ready to face being back on the pitch? Or am I just being a bitch? It wasn't that he didn't want to play. It was from what he could tell by the chaos of his thoughts and mental state that he didn't feel good enough. Maybe if I wouldn't have ever quit. The excuse didn't sit well with him. So much, in fact, that he found himself pacing outside the front of the football locker rooms, arms crossed and glaring at anyone who dare look, talk, and above all else, approach him. That was until Coach Kraft opened the door and started yelling. "Fuck is your problem, Guile? Get your ass in here. We need you warmed up and prepped for this bloody scrimmage." Maximo felt himself straighten and salute, grabbing his bag from the floor and striding into the locker room. Coach Kraft couldn't believe what he'd accepted from his boss that day. The principal scheduled a scrimmage, and without a single complaint, he'd gone along with the plan, even though he knew his boys were tired from the game the previous day, even though he knew he was putting his star player at risk, even though he didn't want to. "Look, boys, I know you're tired. No, you want to settle." Kraft didn't like the stare, knowing from decades of coaching that nothing good would come from jealousy, but had no time to address the issue before the game. He looked through the group of boys once more, and nodded more to himself at the faces that now stare back at him, all senses of lacking confidence, either wiped away or hidden enough to make Kraft unworried. "Now, look here. We don't have much time, and I'm only going to go over this once," said Kraft, slapping the whiteboard behind himself. "Yes, coach. You've done what you can. Now let's hope these boys are here to play."
So, I'm not really going to take like a player manager approach with this series. I really plan on having like Bradley end up running his career as a manager, but not like a manager of a team, but as like a manager of players. And pretty much Maximo's whole thing will just be like, yeah, like, no, I'm actually even going to do that in a couple of chapters when I show, like, you know, people that are interested in them, like, hey, like, you know, we want to do an interview with you, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you know, I would do that for you, but my brother's my manager, so you're gonna have to talk to him about that, because I just play for whatever team he wants me to, and that's it, you know. And that's just the dynamic that he'll put out, and he'll just keep forcing both his own and his brother's stardom all on Bradley's back, because why not, right? Brotherly love. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Speech on Chapter 14. It's a toss. Pages. Cancel. Button. Opening Chapter 14. It's a toss-up. You are currently on Body. Page 1 of 4. Edit text. Body 14. It's a toss-up. Selected. Actions available. Format text quickly by voiceover jumping to the formatter. You are currently on a text area inside of a page. To add comment. Speech muted. Speech unmuted. Speech muted.
Crunact. 14. It's a toss-up. He hated how he was being looked at. Hated that his school was nice enough to afford a jersey printer. Even hated how excited he was to be on the field as his school apparently came out to even spontaneous scrimmages. Ain't no bloody way. I think my post did the trick, boys. Bradley roared, and the tunnel they jogged through filled with the team's own battle cries. Coach Kraft looked agitated as they raced out, the enemy team already practicing on the field. Maximo's eyes scanned the players, and wasn't able to keep down the sudden fit of laughter that filled him as he looked over the projected statistics of the players on the field. Well, this should be good. He looked to the quarterback with a large SS above his head, and then to his brother Bradley, a single S now appearing above his head now that he was standing on the field, and back to the enemy QB. I wonder if they are graded this high because they are the only ones that good on the field. Would my brother be graded so high if he stood beside a major league player on the field? Maximo made his way to the bench, only for Coach Kraft to yank him up by his new 000 jersey, his name perfectly printed on its back in all capital letters. Looks like she got you the nice one, huh? It didn't rip, said Coach Kraft. What? That little friend of yours that hyped up this scrimmage all afternoon. She popped by my office and said she'd pay for your jersey as long as she could pick how it was made. What? Don't act stupid, boy. Cute blondes don't just pay for jerseys without a reason. Now start warming up, said the coach, blowing his whistle before he pointed toward Hector, and then Franklin. Both young men came over, and Maximo rubbed his fingers on his own jersey, finding the material rather soft and malleable. He reached out as the coach gave the trio instructions, pinching both young men's jerseys at the shoulder pads. Hector swatting at Maximo as Franklin gave him a dirty look. Damn, this jersey is really fucking nice. What kind of material is this? Hector, you run routes, Franklin. Set up at the cones and blitz the kid when I blow my whistle. Maximo, don't get hit and make good throws. Simple as that, said the coach, blowing his whistle in their faces before he pointed out a bin full of footballs and an empty area beyond the field goal for them to train. Maximo, seeing just how close the cones the coach had spoken about were to the bin. He followed the pair over to the area they'd been told to practice, unable to tear his eyes entirely away from the enemy team. Most of the players were graded A, alongside a few B grades. His eyes flicked to the home team, and he frowned, seeing even lower grades than he did the previous day. What's going on? Are they tired or something? Or are they rated even lower because of that guy? His eyes drifted back to the SS quarterback that passed swift mid-range passes to either side. The longer he watched, the more information his chip fed him. The information being generated detailed a wealth of underutilized aspects of the young man's physique, but even without reading the whole series of prompts, Maximo knew the guy was holding back. The passes were clean and hit a clip that made people's heads snap toward receivers in an instant. Maximo was jealous of the control and left wondering if the young man didn't want to throw down the middle, but felt due to the young man's grade that his passes there were probably more fierce than anywhere else. Maybe he can't hold back when firing down the middle. The thought struck Maximo as wrong, and then a whistle blew, and Maximo was crushed, Franklin's huge hand spearing into Maximo's chest, knocking the wind out of him as the strike took him off his feet. He hadn't been airborne like this in years, and instinct struck an instant before he hit the ground, and he curled. Welcome back to another broadcast, my friends and family, I know. It's loud here, Shocker. Why is this game so lit right now? I have no idea, said Samantha into the camera. The crowd behind her was in an uproar, and the game hadn't even started yet. Samantha, what did you do? I saw you and Bradley's posts earlier, but this seems like a bit much for a scrimmage, don't you think? Samantha shrugged at the anchor and smirked. What are they yelling? Oh, you mean the away team's audience? The anchor nodded, Samantha only able to see him do so from the screen they placed in front of her to use for the broadcast. I think it's Maximo or something like that. Don't worry about all that. The game is about to start. Why are they yelling your boyfriend's name exactly? Samantha turned to the field, while the camera was moved to show her facing away from what the camera revealed. I think this is going to be a good game for sure. Oh yeah, baby, we won the coin toss. Samantha clapped, while behind her Maximo and two other players could be seen practicing. Maximo wasn't faring well. His new jersey was stained by how many times he'd been tackled. Yet each time, Maximo bounced back to his feet, rushed to the bean and grabbed another ball before his coach could blow his whistle. Each time the whistle was blown, Maximo threw. His throws taking Hector off his feet with every slung ball, Maximo yelling with each play made. Eat a bag of dirty old lady panties, Franklin. You hit like a bitch. Maximo bounced back to his feet, quickly grabbed another ball, and waited, strafing slowly into open space, giving Franklin full view of himself, and then fired the whistle like the signal for war to commence. His arm whipped forward and Hector was sent airborne. He did manage to catch the ball, but was slower and slower to get up, with each ball aimed at his midsection. "Get up, you bitch, I didn't throw it that hard," yelled Maximo, before Franklin again slammed into him. Maximo rolled, coughing and laughing. A kip up and a dash to the bin full of footballs, and he was once more yelling at Franklin. "You're soft, Franklin, like diaper soft, like expensive toilet paper soft. You might be softer than a cotton shirt. I thought you were scary until you tackled me for the first time. Then I realized you is a bitch." The young man growled, lowering himself to charge. "Oh, shit! I mean, shoot!" Bradley caught the kickoff. "I guess he is playing defense again today," asked Samantha to no one in particular. Her body still facing the field as Maximo continued to slander Franklin and Hector until the large young man charged, even before the coach blew the whistle. "I mean, really, how soft could you be? It's like you're punching me with pillows. Can you really?" Maximo ducked as Franklin soared over him, Maximo smiling as he rose and swiftly launched, the ball leaving his hand softly since the practice had started. Hector able to snatch the ball from the air just above himself for a change. Franklin groaned, and Maximo reached down to pull him up, chuckling as he looked over to find Coach Kraft staring at him. "I think we are good for now, Coach."
Good practice.
Speech unmuted. Finder. Find Chapter 15, The Measure of Losses. Pages document. Actions available. Pages. Body. Page 1 of 4. Edit text. Selected body 15, The Measure of Losses. Speech muted.
15. The Measure of Losses. "You have an interesting way of warming up," said Coach Kraft. Maximo laughed, watching the old man look between him and Franklin, who took to the field at the coach's whistle. "Hey, trust me, he needed it, and Hector won't drop a good pass right now either," said Maximo, squinting as he looked over to Hector as he too took the field, replacing another player. "I dare him." Maximo smiled and then looked back to the coach. "I believe you, kid. You need a second to catch up." Maximo shook his head. "Nope, sorry to say this, Coach, but we're cooked for sure. Not even with your brother on defense." Maximo shook his head. "Is it the QB or the receiver over there?" Maximo followed the coach's point and frowned. "Damn it, when did he hit the field? As soon as you walked back over, I bet they didn't want to risk it after that little show of yours." He glanced at the coach, catching Samantha walking in the distance, and had to force himself not to walk after her. "You told me to warm them up, and I did, Coach. Now let's see if that matters or not." He felt the coach look at him, but pushed the stare aside, taking in the field. The biggest changes were without a doubt the ranks above Hector and Franklin's heads. There were B's before, right? How much difference will two A's make? The next play began, and Maximo was given an answer, as Franklin blissed through the line and forced the QB to throw under pressure. Franklin roared, diving toward the enemy QB with an open palm aimed toward the ball. The quarterback threw, and Franklin's arm leveled the man, turning him horizontal before he smashed backward onto the ground. Maximo watched as ranks shifted all over the field. The shift in the game immediate as Hector darted forward, coming from absolutely nowhere. The receiver that the coach had pointed out to Maximo stood in wide open space, only for Hector to appear as if he'd been there the entire time. The receiver jumped, and Hector seemed to flash upward, grabbing the ball as he glided by, landing amidst a dash. "Push, Hector, drop him, give it everything you got." Maximo didn't even know what he was yelling as Hector ran downfield, but the moment the young man dove, smashing bodily into an offensive lineman, Maximo was screaming his head off. "Yeah, baby." Maximo looked at the field again and frowned. Now, what could have possibly been bad about that play? He looked at the coach and shrugged, only to feel as if he was lying as he gave his exact reason for his disapproval. The line was affected, and so was that receiver, but the QB, on the other hand, I think he sees everything we got to offer him defensively. Either Allen outscores him, or we are going to lose Coach. The man nodded. "Glad I'm not the only one that sees that. What would you do in my place? And don't say put you in. That is a last result. Not like your A special weapon. It's just that no one knows what you can do really." Keeps you as a wild card, said the coach. Yeah, I'd rather not play anyway. If he signs a contract at half-time like I think he is, that he won't be able to play high school ball without being paid, and our school won't be able to afford him, what would you say then? Maximo turned. Wait, you messing with me right now, coach? The man shook his head, much in the same way he had when Maximo had approached earlier. Nothing on his features but disbelief and refined stoicism. So we are definitely going to lose this game. The coach chuckled. Maybe, but we'll see. Maximo looked at the man and saw that he was serious as he continued to look at the play as Alan threw a spiral right into Bradley's hands. The game continued and the home team scored, to which the enemy team responded with a 70-yard pass and touchdown. Not even the home fans knew how to react. Maximo could only shake his head. This is going to get ugly fast, but let's hope Alan plays just shitty enough for the scouts to change their minds, said Maximo, muttering to himself. If he was being honest with himself, he still didn't know how he felt about playing. Yet the thought of taking the field at halftime wasn't the worst thing he could imagine happening. I wish the kid luck, but wonder if I wouldn't be better off. Franklin was nearby, glancing at Maximo and the coach, as if he wanted to approach the pair. You know what's wrong with him, coach, said Maximo, trying to change the subject. Same thing that is wrong with me. I'm looking at a better quarterback off the field than I do on the field, and they both play for the same team. Maximo opened his mouth to respond, thinking of his wittiest retort, only to have Franklin walk over. Thanks for the warm-up, brah. Think I needed it, and obviously Hector did too, said Franklin, looking down the field to see the last of their practice trio giving advice to another group of players. No problem. I probably needed it too, especially if coach is dumb enough to put my out-of-shape, unpracticed ass in the game. Maximo made sure to look at the man as he spoke, hoping to get in trouble. Maybe if he angered the man enough, he'd use another backup quarterback. Don't you have like 3 other options, my guy? Seriously, Franklin, tell him something, anything. You don't see them over there already staring at me like I cut them in line or something. Franklin put a hand on his shoulder and laughed. Chill. If they can go through what I just put you through off-field freshman, I'll let them take your place. But until then, I want in on your O-line for real, said Franklin, leaning in and whispering to Maximo. Hector seemed to appear from thin air, and Maximo jumped in alarm. Ain't no way. Where in the hells did you just pop up from? I saw Franklin walk over and I knew what was going down. I want in, on your O-line. My potentially broken ribs better get me a higher spot in line than these other guys, said Hector, jabbing a thumb over his shoulder at the rest of the defensive line. They was talking shit about you anyway this whole time, finished Hector, running his thumb over his throat and shaking his head as he made a face like he smelled something that had gone rotten. Maximo nodded, looking between him and Franklin, who also nodded, and then to the coach whose single nod of confirmation took matters too far over the top for Maximo, snapping him back into reality. Wait, hells no. Wasn't both of you talking crazy too? And wait, coach, you know that Alan's O-line are not going to defend me. It will never work. Franklin looked out onto the field and watched as Alan was sacked. Not like they're really all that good anyway, but if you use me and Hector the right way, I bet we can get some numbers today, even if we lose, said Franklin. The boy's got a point, Guile. You will need the practice, or you'll be wasting your brother's time each play that you aren't at your best until he gets scouted. The whistle for halftime was blown, and Maximo felt as if his entire life had sat stuck on, fast forward since the end of the first quarter, until he was tapped on his shoulder. He looked back to see Samantha, trailed by 2 cameras and an entire television being held up by a magnetic desk that floated a yard off the ground. Hey, cutie, ready for an interview?
So it's a good thing that I did go back and listen to all that. So, I think I'm going to wake up and try to write this in the morning. But I'm glad that we went over this because it was good. We need to add some more, maybe an additional chapter with, maybe the next chapter will be them going over the parts of the game that he missed. And that's where the strategy comes from. Okay, hold on. I think I'm gonna try to write that in the morning. Because I can get this done in the morning and then move on to Death Wish. And then after that, I'm probably gonna prep for my soft open for my new contract. But I appreciate you guys. I don't know if anybody stopped by or not, but hopefully.
Speech unmuted.
Hopefully the
Chapter
lovers
14.
of the
Chapter 50. Pages.
football-
Streamlabs desktop. Lives and group. 3 viewers.
Yeah.
Group. Live 0 hours. 38 minutes. End stream. Button. Live 0 hours. 38 minutes.
I'm tired, guys. But I'm glad that we did have some viewers and we did have you guys checking out Maximo's story, because, again, this is actually doing way better than I thought. I should probably look at that. I always forget to check stats with you guys, but here, let me do that before we shut this down. Because as of last week, Maximo took first place. So, open RoyalRoad.
RoyalRoad. Follow updates. Heading level 4. 5/29's close. Button. Close. Reading history. Heading level 4. View more. Button. Epistems of Omens and Omnis. Volume. Epistems. Mythical Heretic. Epistems. Across the Middle. Volume 1. Bootleg. Others have also liked. Main. Landmark. Table of contents. Ratings and reviews. Overview. Epistem. Plus. Ongoing. Original. Lit. Portal. Urban Fact. Progress. Plus. Warning. This fiction. Profanity. Follow. Continue reading. 328.
Cool.
Total views. 36. Average views. 0. Average 36. Total views. 328.
328 is where Across the Middle is.
Total views. 36.
And its average, I think, went from like 30 to 36. So that's
Average
not...
views. 0. Followers. 0. Favorites. 0. Ratings. 0.
That's
Favorites.
crazy.
0. Ratings. 53. Ratings. 53. Pages. 53. Ratings. 0. Favorites. 0. Followers. 0. Average views. 36. Total views. 328. Continue reading. Button.
Okay. Yeah.
Back. Button.
All right. So let's check out Mythical. Let's see where Mythical is. Oh.
Check out the challenge to write 55,555 words in 5. Slide. 1. Epistems. Mythical Heretic. Volume 1. Ugly Girls Heal Different. Others have also liked. Table of contents.
This was our number one contender.
Portal Fact. Urban Fact. Progression. Plus. Warning. This big prevent. Well, I have continue read 260.
Wow.
Total views. 32. Average views. 1. Followers. 0. Favorites.
So
Back. Button. Banner.
even if
0. Favorites. 0. Followers. 1. Average views. 32. Total views. 260.
even if Mythical did its entire average right now on tomorrow, pretty much, it still wouldn't catch up with Across the Middle. That's crazy. Wild.
Return to Siri. Button. Back. Button. Banner. Landmark.
All the way
History.
wild.
Heading level 4. Slide 1 of 1. Slide 1 of 1. Slide 1 of 1. Slide 1 of 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Epistems. Mythical Heretic. Volume 1. Epistems. Across the Middle. Epistems. The Lineage of Lincoln Lex. Epistems. Cornerstone Coins. Volume 1. Others have also liked.
See
Main.
what
Above fiction.
Cornerstone-
Table. Reading over. Epis plus. Plus. Warn. This fiction contains. Prevent. This trend is to continue reading. 245.
245.
Banner.
Okay.
Landmark. Epistems. Mythical Heretic. Volume. Epistems. Across the Middle. Volume 1. Bootleg. Epistems. The Lineage of Lincoln Lex. Progression. Above fiction. Table. Rate over. Lit plus. Portal. Urban. Progression. Plus. Warning. This fiction. Prevent. Follow link. Continue. 255. Total
255.
views.
Okay.
32. Average view. 0. Followers. 0. Favorites. 0. Return to back button. Banner. Landmark. Reading
That
history.
just
Heading level
shakes
4.
me
Slide 1
about
of 1.
Across
Slide
the
1
Middle.
of 1. Slide 1
Like-
of 1. Slide 1 of 1. Slide 1
I don't
of
know.
1.
I just
Slide
didn't
1
expect
of 1.
it.
Slide 1 of 1.
Did not expect it. Okay, I'm throwing paper towels on the ground. I'm throwing everything on the ground apparently. But yes, guys, no. Please come back tomorrow for Mythical Heretic. We should have some good content there. I'm excited for Mythical Heretic's next chapter, to be honest, to write that. I think that's going to be pretty good. But yeah, no. If you're enjoying Across the Middle, please come back next week. If you're enjoying Maximo and you want bonus chapters to be put out on RoyalRoad, also vote on my website for that. So the link is in the description of any of our videos. yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming today. I know I'm cutting it short, but I am pretty tired. I do got a lot to get done tomorrow. Hopefully, I can stream before I gotta do the soft open for my new concession stand. So, yeah, but yeah, we're gonna keep it moving, guys. Otherwise, I hope you're being good to yourselves. I hope you're writing every day. I hope you're challenging yourselves. I hope you're finding inspiration from your life and making new content with that inspiration. I hope you are being supported by your loved ones in your writing journey, and I hope that you are being kind to those who try to help you succeed in anything that you do. Please be good to yourselves. I know I say that a lot, but it's hard to be good to yourself sometimes. So I really want people to know that is an option. Otherwise, I love you guys. And until we speak again, my fellow cultivators, I hope the manna is with you.